Garcia Cardinal. My mom is First Nations Cree, and my dad is North African from Libya, and I'm 14 in grade 9.
My name is Sunny Hagos. I'm 17 years old. I was born here at Edmonton, but my parents immigrated with my eldest sister. I go to school here at Cardinal Collins. I've been going here since 2022. I'm in 12th grade now, so I'm graduating soon.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Hayes, and I am the C5 Family Resource Network team lead, a spoke from Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society, one of 2 Indigenous family resource networks in Edmonton.
My name is Daniel Loki. I am a youth caseworker here at C5 Edmonton Northeast Hub. My background is I'm Congolese, full Congolese from both my parents, although I was actually born in Nigeria, Lagos to be specific. I remember I moved here to Canada in 2008 with my mom and siblings. My dad came after us, I think 3 years after that.
C5 is an organization that has 5 different organizations in one hub. The 5 organizations are Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society, Boyle Street Community Services, Terra Teen Pregnancy, Edmonton Mennonite Center for Newcomers, and Norwood Family Resource Network. Together with the 5 organizations, C5 has been able to offer resources and supports to our community, such as parent education programs, early child development programs, Indigenous-focused cultural teachings, and advocacy for youth, and a whole list of other things. So what's important to us at C5 FRN is that no youth is left behind, that they're not worried about paying to get into something that should be there for them anyway.
I've been working with C5 for almost 3 years. I have a background in social work. That's how I got my degree at the University of Calgary. And yeah, I've always been involved with youth work since my days in university and also outside of that, both in sports, both in like church or other things like that, right? So I've always been around youths, always been working around youths, and also in the social services stream of things. So going into social work or pursue a career in social work because of my own personal experiences, both while living in Nigeria and also my time moving here to Canada. I was always involved in the space of social services, especially here in Canada, through Catholic Social Services. And that's how I met one of my mentors, or someone that really inspired me to go into this career. He was also a youth worker, and I was very inspired by his work and his engagements in helping marginalized youth, African immigrants like myself and my siblings as well, getting them integrated into the Canadian system, and also giving opportunities to show that there are other options in this life than what we might have known or what we don't even know, right? So one of my biggest motivations of going into social work was to be a mentor for people like myself, African immigrants, and also families as well. One of the significant experiences I remember living here in Canada was in my high school days. I remember there was a sense of pressure to fit in with people, who are interested in different things. In high school, there were youths or people my age that wanted to be involved with themes of making money, drugs, sports, music, and we also had youths that wanted to go into professional things in life, like me becoming doctors, teachers, and lawyers that our parents always wanted us to be, right? But there were so many things going on in high school that the one thing that really impacted me was just that sense of pressure to just be a part of something. And if you weren't a part of anything, you would be isolated and you would feel lost. And it's one thing that I remember, that if I were to just confirm to the negative side of things, I can already tell where my life would have gone in terms of how negatively I would have been affected and what path I would have been in. And that's another thing that makes me more motivated in my work as a youth worker because I understand that there's that sense of pressure that youth face in high school, which can really impact what they do and who they become later on in life. So my work is always to be able to share that connection, that experience that I had with them, even though it's not the same, but I can always relate to them in that sense and give them another aspect or another source or idea of way of thinking that can hopefully get them into the right trajectory of life.
Some of the feedback that we've heard from our youth that is a success for our organization is that we are able to take away a lot of theft of services that happen at the Clairview Recreation Center by offering wristbands to the youth who won't be able to financially obtain them, whether it be because their families don't qualify for the leisure access programs that are offered from the city of Edmonton, or they haven't done taxes. There could be many different barriers that are in the way of families not being able to obtain something that should be free to them. When I was younger, one of the core memories was having a place for me and my brothers to go when my parents had to work or we were just kind of left by ourselves. There was always somewhere for all three of us to go, and we never felt like we were left behind. And this is something that we offer at C5 Family Resource Network. For example, we offer early child development programs that tie into those who have child services interventions and need family supervised visits. We also offer early child development programs such as ages and stages questionnaires to make sure that children are developing correctly on their path. And knowing that not all children are the same and having their parents also understand that learning through play is one of the best ways to be a part of the community, but also our space here. One of the reasons that I decided to start my career in early child development is because social work didn't work out for me. The reasons why social work didn't work out for me is because it hit a personal note in my life. I lost my husband to a heroin overdose, and from that I learned that it's probably better to reach our young ones inside of a school rather than on the streets when it's a little bit too late. As a result of my personal experience, I really wanted to give back to my community, and by doing that was becoming a social support in the community and in our Clairview Recreation Center. Some of the resources and supports that we offer to our youth are the things that they have highlighted that they need for them. Housing supports, food supports, domestic violence supports that are for the whole family as a wraparound, not just for the youth themselves, but something that will help the entire family to be better.
Since I was young, I've always been like kind of more outgoing, talkative, and like active, if I'm gonna say, but I never got into sports when I was younger. So when I had the opportunity in middle school, 7th grade, to get introduced into basketball, like in the beginning I wasn't really good at it, but I liked being in it because it kind of introduced me to a new community of girls my age and like just 2 years older. Like after I started going and I stayed in it, it's like you have a sense of belonging. And honestly, like at least my experience was with really great people, and you get to try like a lot of new stuff. Like my first basketball game, I was really scared, but you get used to it. And especially with cheer, there's a lot of opportunities for me in my future too. And in the beginning, I didn't even want to join cheer because of kind of the stereotype there is around it, that you're kind of just cheering on for a football team or something. But cheer is like actually its own sport. And I learned that myself just being in it. As an only child, like I said, I've always been like very talkative and wanting a social life. When COVID hit, it was kind of hard to continue staying social as an only child because, you know, you don't have the opportunities that you did before. and especially like online schooling, like I didn't do as well. And I think a lot of kids can kind of relate to that. Me and my mom, we started going to River Valley. We started going for like longer walks outside, having picnics outside, just like the two of us. And it kind of made us closer a little bit too.
During the COVID pandemic, it was very hard for me. During 8th grade, because that's when the pandemic affected me, I had changed to online school, but because of me switching to online school, it caused me to have a really bad burnout. And it was for a good like 4 or 5 years up until 11th grade, where I had switched to Cardinal Collins. And it took a lot for me to adjust. But during the burnout, I had experienced a lot of hospitalization. I was sent to the hospital so often, I'd say at least minimum once a month. And I had several attempts, and I was really at the peak of like my mental health being at its worst because of like the self-harm. I couldn't control it. It was such a frequent thing. I was just constantly hurting, constantly in pain, constantly in hospitals. And I just felt like I had no support, no help, no nothing. I thought it was truly the end for me. And it took up until 11th grade where I was like, this isn't for me and this isn't what I want. But I still have to acknowledge that I did struggle a lot. And honestly, not that I'm grateful for it, but I can definitely say that it's taught me a lot. And I'm in such a better place because of it, because I felt like I needed to hit that low to understand that there was more, so then I know that I will never reach that again. And it's like more of a precaution. So I know to never get that bad again. And I know for certain that I will never hit that low again. I will never touch that again.
As an Indigenous person, since I was really young, my family has always taught me about our traditions and our culture and some of our beliefs, which is also like morals. You know, we believe like you get what you give, and you should always be giving even when you aren't getting it back right at the moment. And something I want to talk about is MMIW, missing murdered Indigenous women and girls, because the news doesn't really cover it a lot unless it's a big thing, but it is. Like, we have so much aunties, so much cousins, daughters that go missing, my age, younger or older, and it seems like there isn't enough coverage or news about us. It's almost as if we're not as important, but we really are. We're all human beings. For example, I have a family member, an auntie. For a period of time in 2016, she went missing, and I feel our family feels she didn't get the attention that she deserved, because I feel like the stereotypes played a role. She was not looked for or showed attention for the way she should have, and I feel like being an Indigenous woman played a role in that. And just simply, it's not just my auntie, but so many women and girls are going missing, being taken, forced. Like aunties, daughters, sisters are being taken away from their communities. And my auntie is lucky, but lots of girls have not been found who have been missing since 1990, the 80s, the 70s. Like, it goes back. And I just feel like we need to end this cycle of genocide and hate towards Indigenous communities, because it's not okay. And especially this being our land, on our own land, and not being treated the way we deserve.
When you're younger, all you really do have is school and coming home. And home is already stressful because I had been in the system and I was just adjusting to everything that was going on. And going to a new school, it's hard because I was so desperately in need of like some stability. I needed something to be the same. I couldn't handle any more change. And then being sent to a new school where the bullying just didn't stop. It was just new people that would say the same things over and over again. I couldn't handle it. And that just made my mental health worsen so much more than it was already at. I struggled a lot more with self-harm and suicidal ideation kickstarting 6th grade, which is when I was at the new school. And it was just hard for me because knowing that, again, school was just one of those things that even though I was doing good in school, it wasn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't something that was making me happy anymore. And going home, I felt like all I could really mention was school because I thought that that's all that was being expected of me. I didn't realize that it was a place where I could honestly and openly say how I was feeling, what I was struggling with. So all of that bottled up really did make me lean into self-harm. And it was hard. It was very, very hard. I didn't want my mental health to just be one of those other things that was just reoccurring because there's already other people in my family that had struggled because of generational trauma. Like my parents, they had struggled. My older sister, they had struggled. Coming here was a hardship. They worked and they're continuing to work even now, and it's not easy. So I just didn't want to be another stressor. I would rather have worked with it on my own because I thought that that's all I could do. I was just very independent. But with that independence, I ended up forming friendships that were really unhealthy because I just had been so dependent on them because I was already alone for so long, being bullied, and then coming home and feeling like I didn't have the space. So when I had friendships, I knew that it was supposed to be a partnership, that you could talk about things, but I didn't realize that doing that could grow into something that was unhealthy and unsafe for me. And eventually I had to end those relationships because it just wasn't okay for me. And me ending those relationships really made me realize that I did have to look out for myself, and self-harming and the attempts that I had for like a couple months ago was my last attempt. It was extremely severe. And I had, even prior to that, I had multiple attempts, like frequently, like I'd say every month I was in the hospital. So I just realized that this wasn't okay for me, and ending those unhealthy relationships, getting out of the hospital and really just realizing that this isn't the life for me, this isn't good for me, that really helped with everything. And it just made me look out for supports. And now I'm in therapy, I'm on medication, I'm at a better school, a school that I'm very happy with. And soon I'll be graduating, and then eventually I'll be going into social work and doing everything that I want to do. And that just really helped with everything because now I know that there is more. There's more than just struggling, there's more than just being sad, there's more than just trauma and like all of these terrible experiences. They don't define me at all. And they don't define anyone at all. Like, it's okay to go through things. It's okay to have trauma. It's okay to be like hurt, but that doesn't define you. And it definitely doesn't define me. And I know that now, and I'm better now. And I'm continuing to get better because I'm pursuing more. I'm not looking for death as an exit. I'm not looking for people to make things better for me. I'm making things better for myself because I have that power. I have that control. And that's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted control, but I just didn't realize that I could have that control myself. As much as I had been an amazing support to myself, and I do give a lot of props to myself, and I'm very proud of myself, I'm also extremely proud of the people around me, like my family, especially my mother. She had gone through so much, and also there is still a language barrier, and I know that, but that doesn't stop me from bonding with her, and she knows what's going on in my life. She's an amazing support. She's there with me all the time. She takes me to my therapy sessions. She's there with my psychiatrist. She helps me get my meds. She takes me to school. She does everything that I could ever ask her for. She provides, and she's an amazing support. My father, he works so we can have a roof over our head. He works so I can afford the things that I want. He works so we can have a good life, and that's what he's always been telling me and everyone. He works so he's doing it for us. He isn't doing it for him. He's lived his life. Everything that he does for us. And even my siblings, just their presence, it's just their presence alone. Like, they come around and I'm like, ugh, I'm so happy. Like, I love being around them. If I'm feeling some type of way, all they have to do is just say, hi, Sunny, or just walk into my room and everything is instantly better. Like, they truly are my entire world and more, and they know that. I adore them. And even with friends, like, I know that I've mentioned unhealthy relationships, but I don't have any of that anymore. I have a lot of amazing supports and amazing friends. And even one of them, Anaya, who goes to school with me, she is the reason why I got connected to C5 and got support here from like Daniel Loki, and even had the opportunity to have the space to talk about everything that I have because of them. It's not just me. I'm not on my own. I have these people. I have these supports, and I just needed to look out for them. And I have them now, and I'm so grateful, and I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be where I'm at all if it wasn't for them.
Some of the common themes I've heard from the youth I support here are centered around isolation. Poverty is a big theme here, given our neighborhood or community that we serve here in the Northeast Edmonton. Another thing is family violence, of course. That's something that comes up a lot. Also, lack of employment, and also difficulty integrating into Canadian society for newcomer youths who are just coming into the country and might be isolated or lack any form of guidance or information on how to go about things. So those are some of the themes I hear from the youths we support here. So some of the things that C5 offers to help youths in those areas or themes that I mentioned previously are around after school programming. We offer programs that are free of charge to support youths and their families to be very much integrated in society and also to get them thinking about other plans in their life. So we have programs that are centered around sports, employment supports, other things around health in terms of finding a doctor for yourself. Another things could be in the areas of arts and full-on expressions. So it could be in the areas of media, picture program, or we have a program here called photo shoots where we have a facilitator that teaches youths ages 12 to 18 about the early stages of how to work a camera and take pictures in that aspect. We also have food programs to help students or youths who want to go into the food industry. So we bring in chefs who provide a whole holistic form of training in terms of how to be a chef, learn how to cook certain meals, and you also receive certificates. So these are things that we integrate to meet those needs that are in the communities, especially for our youths, because we find that the lack of resources, the lack of opportunities tends to keep them isolated and bring up those themes that we're really trying to take away in our work here at C5.
Some of the things that I'm extremely proud of would have to be one of the things that I accomplished with C5 would be my FoodWorks program certificate. It started in November. It was 2 times a week for the whole month. So 8 times I went to the FoodWorks C5 hub, and we got to cook with an amazing chef, Chef Allison. I have nothing but gratitude for her. I'm so happy that I could have been one of the first people that got to work with her as a teacher because that was also her first time. So it was just like a new thing for the both of us because I had never been in a cooking program. I did like cooking classes at school, but nothing like this. And it was her first time being a teacher. And I'm so grateful that I could be one of her like memorable experiences. And I'm so proud of myself for getting the certificate. And again, just thank you to Daniel Loki for even giving me the opportunity and like bringing me into the C5 like community and giving me the chance to accomplish all that I have. And I'm hoping that I can continue to work with them in the future.
My Indigenous side has always been a big part of me and just finding my identity, since it's really confusing how 2 totally different cultures clashing and like growing up with it, almost like you're picking parts trying to be one. Growing up, I got told a lot of the time, oh, you don't look native, you're not native enough, or you're North African, you're Libyan, you don't act like it. But when really it's like, I can do the blood work, I have native and African in my blood, but it's like, I don't need to prove that to anybody. If I don't look native enough, what does that mean? You know, I'm 50-50. I can't pick fully one side, but I feel like that's a part of my journey of finding myself. What do I feel comfortable with? How to express, but still be proud of both of my identities, almost make it as one. Because really, it's one identity, just I'm 2 cultures. And I'm just trying to find a way to like be myself, but also represent my community. We do face a lot of challenges here in Edmonton and almost like all over the country. And something I want to talk about is MMIW, missing murdered Indigenous women and girls, because the news doesn't really cover it a lot unless it's a big thing, but it is. Like, we have so much aunties, so much cousins, daughters that go missing, my age, younger or older, and it seems like there isn't enough coverage or news about us. It's almost as if we're not as important, but we really are. We're all human beings. Some advice I'd like to give to kids my age or younger or older is, especially if you're biracial and it seems like you grew up in 2 different worlds and you're trying to bind them and be one, is honestly be patient, but also be patient with yourself. Be patient with your kids, especially if you're a mother or a father, you have a biracial kid. Don't pressure them too much into one culture, making them believe one is better than the other, because at the end of the day, like, you're still 50-50. You're not more black than you are white. You're not more Asian than you are Indian. At the end of the day, you're just the amount of same of both. At the end of the day, you're still two cultures mixed in one. You're still 50-50. So don't be pressured into picking a side. Just be patient and try to be you as much as you can.
My piece of advice for youth is to explore all of your options. You don't want to make a decision that's clouded or not even thoroughly looked through, because then you might regret it and it might hurt you. And I say this from experience. I really do wish that I looked through all of my options instead of deciding and making all these serious decisions or trying to look for a permanent solution for a temporary problem. That's such an important thing. And I just want people to really think about that and sink into that, because you shouldn't be trying to make permanent and serious decisions for something that's temporary, because time continues to pass. Things will always keep moving. You just need to keep moving with it, and that's okay. Just again, look for everything that you can before deciding, because you never know. Maybe even if you think this is the best thing for you, maybe there's something better that you just haven't looked at yet. Just explore and allow yourself to explore, allow yourself to be free and wander a lot.
One advice I have for the youth is just to keep going. Don't give up. Go to school right now while it's free. You don't want to be paying for it later. But just hold yourself accountable. You want to hold your parents accountable, but you also play a role in your future. And in order to make your future bright, you also have to show up.
One advice I have for youth is for them to be very understanding, in the sense that you are not alone, that in a place like this, in a country like this here in Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, there are a lot of supports available for you. We tend to find that youths think they're alone and think that they can figure out things by themselves. But the truth is that you have a lot of supports and people around who are willing to help you out. It might not be the support that you need specifically when you go out to find that help, but just know there's always other avenues that best fit you and what you need. So always reach out, but just know that there are always supports available for you as well.
The one piece of advice that I have for parents is to just take care of yourself, because you already do such a great job of taking care of children like me. So you need to focus on you, because who else is going to? You are the parent, and you're an adult, so you have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you're eating, making sure that you're sleeping, making sure that you're well, you're happy. Do things that you enjoy as well. I know that you do an amazing job, and a hard job at that, of making sure that your children's lives are attended for, but you also need to attend to your own needs. It's very important. And because you can take a break, it's okay. I understand that you do a lot. We understand that you do a lot, but you still have to take care of yourself, because we appreciate you and we know what you're doing, and we see that, and we love that, and we love you for that. So just make sure that you are loving yourself too.
One advice that I have for parents is to be patient. Be patient and be kind. The world that our youth are living in right now is not the same as it was when we were younger. There's lots of different things that play a role in their lives, like social media and their friends. A lot of people are struggling just to make ends meet, and be patient with yourself, but be patient with them as well.
One advice that I would like to share with parents is to be very involved as much as you can in your children or youth's lives. We find that a lot of the issues that come up are usually centered around what's going on at home, and a lack of stability at home tends to be reflected on the youths or the children. This affects the way they think, the way they move around, people they talk to, how they engage in their community, in their societies, and also mentally, it's a lot to carry upon them. So I'll say be as involved as you can in understanding who your child is, who your youths are, who your children are, speaking to them as much as you can, making time. That effort is very important, because as youths grow up, even though they don't want to show the interest in wanting to know you as a parent, they actually need it, and the little or any amount of time that you spend with them or effort you put into it really shows in how they go about things and how they move and how they do things in their own personal lives. So be involved.
I know that for some of you, this isn't going to be easy. Honestly, nothing is really easy when you're struggling, but there is hope, there is more, and it's just something that you need to look for. So please reach out. Find supports, whether that be a parent or a trusted friend or even a teacher, just anyone, just someone with authority, somebody that's older, somebody that can help you and guide you, because you need the help, you need the support, and it's not bad, it's not scary. Oh no, actually, it can be very scary, but it's not a bad thing. It's okay. Sometimes things that are scary are just things that you just need to go through first, so then they're not scary. You just gotta try. Even something silly like some people are scared of spiders. Maybe if you're just around a spider a lot, you just won't go as scared. Or maybe your first day of school, it's just the first day of school that's scary. You know this. And that is how it can be for mental health too. It's just something that you need to step through first. Baby steps first, always. Don't try and leap into anything. Don't try and jump into everything. Just take it easy, take it slow, because you have time. You have so much time, and I know that can be scary, but you have time. And for those that struggle a lot more with mental health, or even struggle with being comfortable or getting to know your own disabilities, like myself, I'm still learning, just know that it does get easier. You just gotta give yourself the time, and also give yourself the space to explore what this really is for you, whether it be with mental health, what do you think about? What do you feel? Or with your disability, how does this affect your life? How does this change you? What do you need? Just really accommodate for yourself and let yourself be everything that you are, because it's okay and you're fine just the way that you are.